hold anybody out. Optimistic on like Luka being available, but we'll see at the end of the week. Same thing on Nakai. We'll see what that looks like at the end of the week. On the kicking side, Martin has a chance into the week. We'll see again how he goes through it. Yeah, I don't think I'm missing anybody else. We'll see by the end of the week. Yeah.
And then as far as BC goes, they got a new quarterback. Would you see out of them? Because, I mean, threw for 400 and whatever yards it was, and looks like he's got a pretty live arm.
Yep. Yeah, they look good. Week one, really all three phases with the quarterback. Again, Coach O'Brien does a nice job schematically, moved the ball, scored a bunch of points. We know coming into this thing, they got a couple of receivers that got our attention. We're having to do a nice job on tight end position to catch the ball, so they got some weapons.
Two things, Jonathan. You've only been here a year. Did the energy surprise you at all? I mean, when you came out in that student section, was there so long before the game? Were you surprised by it at all?
The surprise probably a little stronger. I was definitely excited. You walk out in that student section pre-game. The thing is packed and going. That energy was awesome. I actually thought the Spartan Walk, was packed. Tailgating, multiple, just the fan and the fan energy. That was fun.
You said in a recent interview, there's nothing like a locker room celebration when everyone gets to know each other.
Yeah.
I know you had 30 or 40 new players, but did you notice that Saturday? These guys have been together a year?
Yeah, I felt good. The connections, I thought a lot of the crossover at offense and defense, they've been battling each other the entire training camp, right? And then we win together with needing all three phases and the interactions. It felt good after a win for sure.
Two things for me as well. Looking at Boston College's defense, there's a lot of blitzes from the corners, safeties coming in. I'm curious how much that emphasizes the pass protection side of your running backs, because I know with two young guys, sometimes that can be an issue, and I think we saw a little bit of that Friday as well.
Yep. We got to be better in protection as a whole, whether it's identification where you're going at, and once we identified the communication of how, because we got off on one play, O-line seeing something different than the backs, and so that'll get tested, right? That's why I go back to, I think I said it after the game, like what we put on tape, that's going to try to get exposed again, right? So we got to shore up some of the protection, identification, communication, then ultimately the technique and winning in protection.
And then I checked the stats. Jay Coyne played, I think, 37 snaps last season, and he played 11 on Friday. Is that a trend you're going to continue with? And if so, what can he bring to this offense?
We like him on offense, playing that kind of the fullback role, plays a decent amount on special teams too. We like him. He plays with effort. We want to have some multiplicity to us, what we're doing offensively, and some of that is the personnel group we're putting out there, and Jay adds to having variety offensively.
You mentioned about the defense, the ability to rotate the guys, but also the production you got from them across the board. I think early on, it wasn't a singular guy that was doing things. I'm wondering what you saw back on the tape with that, but particularly the edge guys. I mean, Jalen gets a sack and got some pressure there with him and Rafaela as well.
Yep, like where you're going, multiple guys in it, and we want to play a team defense. We don't play superstar defense where we've got one guy creating the whole thing. 11 guys playing with great effort, doing their job, and then being able to rotate who those 11 guys are. Starts at the line of scrimmage. I thought the D-line did a good job. I mean, you see it in the run game in general, but it starts up front. D-line to the edge of the defense was pretty solid throughout the night.
Coach, Jack only had one catch for 3 yards in week one. How do you get him more involved and get him the ball a bit more against Boston College?
Yep, like to. In fairness, Jack, he missed a decent amount of camp, so he's working his way back into it. But we do feel like he moved around. Just watching him on the tape, he moved around well. And so, we'd love to him to his part to grow as a factor in the pass game. Had some stuff in the run game that actually looked pretty good. And you'd like to have the problem of multiple guys. You want to see the ball, right? Because I would have loved, Nick would love to see him get a few more touches. McCray had the big crease. I'd love to see him get a few more touches. The way Mackay was carrying the ball, you'd love to get some more carries. And so we're going to keep spreading the wealth. But Jack would be a part of that.
Jonathan, obviously you have so many new players, but whenever we've mentioned Boston College to the guys who were there last year, I've seen a lot of pained expressions. How often does the disappointment of 1 year in a game show up the next year?
Yeah, I think we do. We got returning players that were experienced that, kind of the disappointment of that game, the back and forth. They had an awesome crowd, red bandana game. It leaves an imprint on you. You know, they stormed the field after, and so guys remember that. And again, that's not in a disrespectful way. They had a nice win, and they should celebrate the thing. But I think it's those that were there have some added juice to want to play well this weekend.
Jonathan, you talked about playing a lot of guys on defense. The corner position didn't rotate as much, that I don't think early especially.
Early.
I guess, what did Malcolm and Joshua do to earn those starting roles? And do you see the snaps kind of remaining about that way?
You know, they definitely earned those spots in training camp, and both of them are a little bit older, right, for game ones, have played college experience. We did get Chance and Aiden in on defense. I think they both got double-digit snaps toward the end, and both those guys did some good stuff, right? Chance had the pass breakup. Eden, you mean first play of the game, yeah, contested one-on-one, well thrown ball and catch for an explosive. He didn't bat an eye, came back in there and did some good things, challenging throughout. So we'd love to, you got to have depth. I've been saying it, but those two guys for game one, we're going to get a heavy amount early on, and they did some solid things.
Jonathan, a couple from you. One with Aiden. When you went through the film, what did you see from his sort of pre-snap recognition and handling the pocket and seeing what was coming and all that?
I thought pre-snap was pretty solid. I think had some good snaps when balls in his hands in the pocket, had some good ones. Got loose on a couple protections that he got out there pretty early. I thought as the game went on, second half could have done a better job keeping his eyes up. We actually talked about that yesterday. You know, got a couple protections weren't great, and so that trended to get his eyes down. He's not playing as fast. He wants to do a better job with that.
And then with the kicker position, do you anticipate this weekend going with Eckley again on long field goals? And what you were thinking about with that 46-yard and what you
Yep.
said to him? I mean, it looked like he had the leg. It's just not something he's done a whole lot.
He put a good swing on it. It had the distance. It was just left. And going into last week's game, yeah, that was kind of the plan. Blake was going to be maybe mid-range to short. He was going to take those. A longer one was going to be Eckley's. We'll see by the end of the week where Martin Tarek are at, where Blake's at, to be honest with you. And he did solid first three, going right through the uprights. But if it comes down to a longer one that, you know, Eckley's best suited, we'll do that again.
With the defensive line, with Dunnigan and Sumerin and Kelly, I'm sure this didn't surprise you at all, but the way that they were able to sort of mesh together and play as one unit, I think that surprised some of us just watching this team with a new guy in the mix with Kelly. How do you get guys to play off of each other like that? Because I know everyone has their different styles and brings something different to the unit, but to have that sort of cohesion as a D-line.
Yeah, well, I think it starts with kind of the culture in that room, those guys all playing together. Coach Laney's always done a great job in that room with multiple guys and knowing their roles and doing their part, and they want to be a part of that because those three you mentioned they had solid games. Ben Roberts, you know, creating some havoc in the backfield, not always just getting the tackle, but creating space for the other guys to do it. And they multiple guys. I mean, Derek Simmons got in the game. He close to that double digit as a true freshman. Did some solid things in there, and that experience was good to see.
Jonathan, I know it's only one game, and they played an FCS team, I believe, but I'm just curious, what you noticed, you know, you mentioned this staff and their staff kind of on similar tracks, year two, coordinators back. Where did you see the growth in Boston College program that maybe you'd hope to see, or, you know, generally speaking, people would hope to see in year two with a continuity of coaching staff?
You know, they did a nice job getting to a bowl game last year. You know, again, conferences are different, this and that, but this team, they are sound. They make you earn it. They don't just give you freebies of making mistakes. Even looking at week one, they didn't have the week one issues. I mean, when you score that many points, you're creating those points, and they did it. You know, whether it's turnovers, offensively being executing at a high level. And that does start, I think, with some of the coaching they got going over there. Coach O'Brien knows what he's doing.
Coach, I know you guys are really high on Alessio, and I don't think anyone doubts how good he can be, but when he's got the limited experience, there's only 2 throws in his career, interceptions, how do you kind of keep him confident?
Yeah, we talked about it. You know, again, to be able to have to sit there in the entire game and then get your one throw late in the game on a third down, it's not easy. Learning opportunity for him, where the rotation was and things. Would love to have been able to run the ball in the first couple of snaps to gain a first down. We're trying to get first downs and let the clock run, but Unless he's competitive, he's got his head on his shoulders, he's practiced so well. We even talked about it on the team side. Yeah, his time's coming, and if the situation arises, we want to put him back in the game, we're going to do it.
I kind of wanted to go back to the offensive line a little bit. When you watch the tape back with particularly the three guys you brought in with Caleb, Connor, and Gulpin. I mean, Gulpin plays every snap.
Yep.
Those other guys are rotating back and forth. What goes in, now that you kind of look at that back, how did you feel they performed? And do you feel like at some point you want to get to a static five, or can this rotational situation work?
On those three new ones, Goldman, we thought played pretty solid in regards to snaps, physicality. Caleb did on the rotation side, and Connor for that matter, going left and right, coming out. I thought Connor did a good job. It's not easy to play right and left tackle. I mean, the footwork's different, the stance is different. Did some good things there. I think he got loose a couple times in protection, which we got to keep on working on. Caleb athletically, it's pretty solid for the first game. Had a couple mishaps. Whatever the penalty here, I think he's going the wrong way one time. But we like them in the way they competed. On the rotation side of that, would you love to just have five, and that's what we're doing? If those five are pushing and playing at the highest level, we'd like to get to that point, whether that's week 2 or week 8. Because like I mentioned, Vincic potentially getting back into the mix, and I like the idea. Continued competition, you've got some depth. If you ended up playing whatever that number would be, eight guys. Thanks, guys. Yeah, guys too.